This is Sede Trads. You're going to hear that Sedevacantists are mean. We have no charity. We have no love in our soul, or whatever. I mean, we're fake people. We're just online individuals. Blah blah blah. All the insults that you can find. You're going to hear this from the traditionalists that aren't Sedevacantists. They have this. There's this trend to have this anti-Sedevacantist bent, and usually the insult is, oh, they're just not charitable. They're just mean. I want to point out something about Sedevacantists, and that's this, that we're not going to sugarcoat the truth to you. At least from us, you'll hear the truth about what's going on. I understand the Novus Ordos aren't going to accept that. They think that we're schismatic heretics because we want nothing to do with the man who calls himself the Pope. I expect that from the Novus Ordo. But when you get this from those who call themselves traditionalists, those are the ones that aren't going to tell you the truth. These are the ones that are going to tell you that, the Pope just created this document encyclical, but you don't have to follow it because it's not infallible. You don't have to follow what the Pope says. Instead, I'll sift through whatever his document is, and I'll tell you the truth, as if there's some authority. You're not going to hear that from Sedevacantists because that's not the truth. Right? It's not true that if a Pope creates a document, that we have a right to sift it and create our own judgment on it and deny what we don't like about it or challenge what the Pope is saying in a certain regard. No, that's not the truth. The truth is we have to assent to what the Pope says. We have to give assent to it. We don't have a right as a layperson to go against what the Holy Father teaches, especially in regards to morals and to faith. Now, Pope Leo came up with a document where he basically said that we shouldn't use co-redemptrix, mediatrix of all graces, and so forth as titles for Our Lady. Now, what you see is the semi-traditional trads, and we use that term because of this reason here, that they think that they can listen to, they can get this document that the Pope puts out to the church, to the faithful, saying not to use these titles. All right, they're not appropriate titles. That's what this supposed Pope said, and these trads who recognize him as the Pope are telling you, nope, you're not going to follow that. We know better than him. We know better than who they think is the Holy Father. And we're going to tell you, you should use those terms. Based on what? Well, based on what they think to be true. Basically. They know that what this Holy Father, what this supposed Pope is saying is nonsense. But they're not going to tell you the truth. Okay? They're not going to tell you the truth. You don't have a right as a layperson to go against what the Holy Father teaches. All right? In official documents to the faithful. You don't have a right. You have a right to assent to it. You have an obligation to assent to it. All right? But the Sedevacantists is what they're telling you is that this man is not the Pope because of all these different reasons. There's no way this man can be the Pope. It's impossible that he's a Pope. And therefore, we're going to reject what he says about the Mother of God and these titles. And we're going to continue using those titles because this man has no authority. But that's not what you're going to hear from the semi-trads. That's not what you're going to hear from them. They're going to say, oh no, he's the Pope, and those Sedevacantists are just mean, and they're heretics and liars, and they're meanies, and but listen to us instead, and reject what the Holy Father says to do. Does that sound Catholic, to reject what the Holy Father says to do? Who's consistent here? Sedevacantists say, and you can accept the position or not, but we say the man is not a pope because he preaches heresy and promotes anti-Catholic things, that the man can't be a pope, and we're not going to obey him. If he was the pope, we would obey him, but he's not the pope. So we're not going to obey him. We're not going to listen to what he says nonsense. The Sede Trads hear this. They know what he's saying is nonsense, but yet they're going to still say he's the pope. And what they do is they train you. They begin to train you to have this idea that you can listen to the pope and sift what he says. We're not the mean ones. We're just the ones that tell you the truth. And we're not going to sugarcoat it. We're just going to tell you that there's no way this man can be the pope. Look what he says. What more does he need to keep saying for you to recognize that the man doesn't think like a Catholic, act like a Catholic? This is my issue. This is my issue with those trads who want to believe this man is the pope, but feel they can't trust him and don't believe him to. They wouldn't trust this man to catechize their own children. Okay, they wouldn't trust Pope Leo to catechize their own children. Yet they believe this man to be the vicar of Jesus Christ. I mean, there's just something not right about that position. There's something not right here. I've heard that the SSPX was putting out in their homilies, speaking out against the document that Pope Leo created about denying the titles of Code Mediatrix and Mediatrix of all graces, and saying that they were going to do reparations for this harm. So maybe for a month or however long, they're going to do reparations. Okay, the one who they claim is the Pope put out a document stating that this is not appropriate title for the Mother of God. He's speaking on a matter of the faith. The Mother of God is part of our faith. He's speaking on a matter of the faith, and he says it's not an appropriate title. Now, if you accept this man as the Pope, you have to accept his decision. Whether you agree with it or not, whether you think it's prudent or not, you have to assent to it. And you shouldn't be publicly speaking out against it, but they are. Because they know it's nonsense. We know it's nonsense. Sedevacantist knows it's nonsense. The SSPX knows it's nonsense. All trads know it's nonsense because it is. But the problem is, they're giving this man that authority. And then they're going to go and tell their faithful, we're going to do reparations for the harm that the Vicar of Jesus Christ is doing to his church. That just seems nonsense. How can you accept this man as the Vicar of Jesus Christ? And then how can you go and point the finger at Sedevacantists who are rightly saying, what are you doing? How can you do reparations for who you believe to be the Vicar of Christ? He's not the Vicar of Christ if you're going to do something like that. How can you accept him as such? You know? He's not just... he's not doing what Paul did. You know what I mean? He's not like out there, not in a public forum, and says something silly and then you correct him. I mean, the man is promulgating a document for the church and giving his decision on a matter. This is my issue. We're not being mean, all right? When we challenge your inconsistencies. But you're going to hear the truth with us. It might not be fun. It might challenge you. I'm mainly speaking here to the SSPXers, the Resistancers, and especially the Novus Ordo trads, okay, who obviously hate the Novus Ordo religion but want to feel like they can just have their pope. They're the same way. All these people are basically Sedevacantists in practice because they don't listen to the pope, they don't follow their pope. They reject him because they know what he's saying is not Catholic, but they don't want to say, but they just want to point the finger at us as if they're somehow more superior, more righteous, more virtuous, because, I acknowledge him to be the Pope, but no other way do you acknowledge the man. You don't follow him, you don't believe him, you don't listen to what he says, you sift what he says through some rogue bishops like Bishop Snyder and Burke. Now, who are they? I mean, if Pope Leo is the Pope, then why would you listen to Bishop Snyder, who is opposing him, or Bishop Burke, who's supposedly opposing him. Why listen to them? Who are they? What kind of authority they have? You should reject what they had to say. Like, well, obviously Leo has spoken. What do I care what you're saying? Burke or Snyder? The Catholic position is to follow what the Pope says. If you accept the man to be the Pope. If you accept him to be the Pope, then you don't use those terms. You stop using those terms. All right? And if you're wondering, how could this man go against what has been part of our tradition, part of our faith for so long? Well, then question it. Look at the other things this man's doing. Look at the totality of what he's saying and doing, and realize, yeah, this man doesn't have the faith. And that's why he can say what he's saying. Ave Maria.